Can we go with that?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Peace. Welcome
Secret
back.
House.
Secret House.
Secret House.
Secret House against a variety of things. Secret House against the world. Tokyo. We're out here in Tokyo reviewing albums. Today it's just me and Jet. Please check out our previous reviews, the recent ones. We just released Homeboy Sandman's collaborative project with Illingsworth. Last weekend we recorded Chris Crack, Growthfully Developed, which one of the producers on that album reached out to us to say thank you for reviewing and recognizing how dope he was, and we did recognize. Shout out to DBL-A from Houston. We're playing his beats all this episode. Go check him out on your streaming services.
It'll be in the description.
Yeah, it'll be down there. This is the Labo Sweeney Volume 1 album. So yeah, man. Beats. I like it. He's great, man. He's really good. He's got so much work on there. Shout out to all the people in the comments section. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Tell your friends. Share this with the artists if you think that they're not going to come for our heads. But yeah.
I feel like Chris Crack might have subtweeted me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
Maybe.
He probably feel a way about me calling him a brilliant idiot all the time. I was watching that review and I've kind of felt like I was a little bit dirty towards him, but I was mostly just trying to be funny about it. Like, I don't think he's crazy.
Because I don't use Twitter, but like I opened up Twitter, I saw that DBL-A was showing us love on there, and Chris Crack had liked the tweet, but then his next tweet was just like, fuck anybody who ranks black art. And in that comment, in that video, I'm like, oh, well, I like last year's Chris Crack. It would have been my 11th favorite rap album of last year or whatever. Like, I probably said some shit that maybe he didn't approve of if he'd watched that video. So, I mean, who knows?
Well, we're definitely not doing the reviews to get pat on the back by the artist, but it's nice to be recognized and shit, you know, like.
Yeah,
it's
peace
mostly,
to Chris Crack, peace to DBL-A.
Mostly, you know, I got love for the culture. I've been in it forever, so we just like to have these conversations, and why not share it? So, yeah, today we're reviewing
YL. Soda Club Deluxe.
Yeah, man. And as you know, I like to go into these by first talking about our experience with the artist and how well we know the artist. Do you want to kick it off?
Yeah, so you had me kind of fucked up because there is a very, very famous French drill MC named YL. And when I first heard that Choose You beat, I was like, oh, this is a drill beat. Okay, this is YL. And then he started rapping like this.
Yeah.
And this French dude, he raps like this. You know, he's aggressive. And I was like, oh man, YL changed up his style and got really good at speaking English.
Word.
And then about 5 minutes into the album, I'm like, this is not the same person.
Definitely,
this is definitely a completely different person. And I was not familiar with New York's YL.
Okay.
This is my first time.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fairly familiar with him. Not super familiar. Like, I don't remember a lot of his album titles and shit like that. But last year, maybe the year before, the homie Yo Jamal Is Dead, Dusty Scrolls, my man Killer Teeth. Shout out to the Bridge MC crew out here in Tokyo. He put me on to some work that YL did with Starker, the Low Caesar project, which is really dope. And also earlier last year with my man Paulie Rhyme, we reviewed the Lightwork EP on Odd Cypher Divine, a part of this channel as well. So you guys could check that out. And at that point, I was fairly new to, you know, YL's style and his approach. But he works with a lot of cats who are within that same kind of underground East Coast rap aesthetic that are not quite abstract or experimental, but still rocking off the weird beats. They're still like lyricists, like, you know, Theravada, Young Morpheus, Lungs, Lord Jamonte Ogbon, I think that's how you pronounce it, Concept Jackson. And Roper Williams is one of his like longtime collaborators. I think that they live close to each other, maybe come from the same part of the city. So, you know, I know of him. I can't tell you song titles, but I've got a variety of them in my Spotify.
And this is, I assume, a follow-up to, but otherwise unrelated to last year's Soda Club.
Yeah. When I first saw this come across on my, you know, the timeline or whatever, I thought this was just like it's called Soda Club Deluxe.
Yes.
So I thought it was like the Soda Club album
version with
like a couple, maybe a remix or, you know what I mean? But it's a completely different project.
Yeah.
And I didn't listen to the original Soda Club. But the thing that made me want to reach out and review this with the squad, with the Secret House, is that his approach on this is completely different. The beat production, the production choices that he makes on this is completely different than his kind of typical sound.
Sure.
And the beats on this is almost like you said, it's like this is a drill beat. This is kind of like a more mainstream pop rap appeal with heavy 808s and just a different approach. But he's still, he's still rapping.
Yeah.
He's still rapping really well. And as like an MC, I do like his approach. He's not like a non sequitur MC. He's kind of not even really like a punchline MC.
No.
Not much flash there either. You know what I mean? It's mostly
and his delivery. I mean, he sounds like he's. If he weren't rapping so fast and with so much focus, he'd sound like he was falling asleep. He makes it sound very effortless.
Yeah.
He's got that very soft delivery.
Yeah. And it's interesting because like even when the beat feels like he's going harder, he still kind of has like this continuous kind of really soft spoken, I don't know how to, it's like a continuous straightforward swaggy New York goon braggadocio. It's not even like, he's not talking about like on some Action Bronson like jump off of a building and hit a cartwheel or some real crazy visual shit. He's mostly just like, yeah, you thought you were dope and now you're not really dope, and here's an example of why I'm dope in a most like a regular way. You know what I mean? Like,
reminded me, and this is gonna be a bit of a strange comparison because it's not a musical comparison, but I was in the car with my boy Cess last year, and Cess was driving that shit like Lewis Hamilton. He was like flying down these streets. And he had one hand on the wheel. He was leaning back. He was making very casual conversation with me, but he was like way over the speed limit.
Right, like tighten your seatbelt up a little bit.
I'm there like mildly hanging on for dear life, but trying to stay cool. But his V8 is like, and he's just chilling. I was like, that's the kind of vibe I get from this record. It's high BPM. He's just like flying through these lines.
Yeah.
He's using that kind of drill couplet flow on basically all of these tracks.
Right.
And he's saying some real shit, but at the same time, he's like just real nonchalant about it. He's chilling.
It's not even like, I wanted to kind of pull out some lyrics from this, but there's not those type of moments in it where you're just like, wow, that was a bar.
Yeah.
It's just consecutively like, oh, that's a dope thing to say. That's a dope thing to say. Here goes another dope thing to say. And it's, what I think that really stands out and works well with his style is these production choices is a weird dichotomy, and it creates something that's an interesting listen, and it actually made me appreciate him more as an artist and look forward to kind of how he'll break boundaries a little bit more. This is unlike almost anything I've ever really heard before.
Well, it's funny because my kind of main points of reference for a lot of this record weren't really rap shit. Like, the production reminds me a lot of like Moody Man in places.
Okay, yeah.
There's that kind of vibe to it. And a lot of like UK garage, like late 90s, early 2000s, stuff like You Don't Know. Like You Don't Know kind of vocal sample. Reminds me of that UK garage. There's a bit of like that Chicago footwork.
Right.
DJ Earl kind of, DJ Nate type it's like a soulful element to
the
it.
The Shaft joint is kind of like really on that same vibe.
DJ Rashad, DJ Spin, like Spin and Rashad, like it's
like
got
a
that
double cup kind of.
Right.
Yeah, I feel you.
And then he's like rapping and rapping. He's like rapping on top of it as well. It's not really like a MC at a club kind of keep the hype going, keep the crowd moving kind of thing. He's rapping over the top.
Yeah, I feel that. Like a lot of the musical comparisons to make are not ones that would be made strictly within the confines of like hip hop.
Yeah.
It kind of steps out of that in a lot of interesting ways. I was surprised like it didn't get a little bit more hype just because it's so damn interesting as I don't want to say sonically, but I mean that's like I'm on the train and I didn't realize. I was like, oh shit, this shit already repeated, because I was just kind of like, the songs don't overstay their welcomes, but they hit you and they catch you. Man, I love that.
That's a good train listen.
Yeah.
I was pulling up out of Shinjuku Station on the way here listening to it. And then I ran into my homegirl, Shalise. So I took my headphones off.
Hey,
I was talking to her.
Aphrodite.
Shouts out to Aphrodite, Shalise. But when you're leaving Shinjuku Station, you see the whole city just fly past.
Yeah.
There's all the neon and the billboards and stuff like that. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's daytime right now, so it's not lit up. But, all the colors and everything are just flying
Yeah.
past you. And it's the same vibe of that album. It fit really, really well.
Yeah, man.
You could stick your phone camera, like, up against the window of the Yamanote line and just play the album in the background. You probably get a million
Word.
views on it.
Word. I mean, it's 17 minutes, so it's essentially like from my door to Shibuya for me. You know what I mean? And it's just a fast listen.
It's a
and
breezy listen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I must have listened to this so many times. And tracks, there is actually one track on here that I just don't like, and I always skip it now. And for people who know me, they probably know, like, it's that Nelly joint. It's the We Ride joint, and it's not bad, but I have such a kind of disdain and aversion for that track because I was outside. I'm almost 40, so I was like 17, 18 when that dropped, and it was so ubiquitous and everywhere.
Those
and
guitars, like the process.
I just didn't like anything that Nelly stood for back then. I was listening to Ghost, Supreme Clientele, Dell, Both Sides of the Brain, Deltron. I was listening to Nia by Black Alicious, The Platform by Dilated Peoples dropped that year.
Yeah.
And for people that don't know, there used to be kind of like this really sharp line between like selling out and not selling out, and being an industry cat and being an underground cat. And a lot of that shaped my politics even. And that's why I guess I'm on that trajectory right to communism and Marxism. But I don't like that song. And it's not bad, actually. If anybody was going to do something with it, I'm glad he did, because I just wouldn't need to hear it again.
It's funny because I keep saying it's funny. Sorry. But
That's going on your bingo card.
That's my bingo card. It's funny because that's interesting because but that track in particular really took me back to like my childhood, like late 90s London UK garage scene. That's that it's got like a Craig David or an Artful Dodger kind of vibe to it. And Nelly wasn't my first point of reference. Is that a Nelly sample on there?
That's his song. Like it's like I forget. I as soon as I hear it again, all the chorus is going to come rushing back at me like I'm in the fucking mall again. But yeah, it was a Nelly song. It's I forget the name of it, but it's something like We Ride.
We ride because we ride, but that wasn't it, right? That's not the sample. That's like Sierra or something.
Yeah, I mean it's like Nelly and the what were they? The Saint Lunatics.
What?
Hold on. This is gonna get us demonetized.
We can edit this section and then just act like we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's called We Ride with the Saint Lunatics.
What?
Yeah, official. I guess. Yeah, I'm not even sure what year. This must have came out in like 2000. I'm almost certain because I remember.
Okay.
I remember it. It was like the Thong Song was like the year before, and this was the joint afterwards. And I just despise pop music. I didn't even like 50. I was such a hater. I was listening to Fun Crusher Plus and yeah, I'm fucking I've grown to appreciate that shit more. But that's the only song that I don't like, and I don't even like dislike it. I just when I hear it, I'm like, I could do without this one. Let me go back to Marvin. Let me go back to I Choose You. Let me go back to Shaft. Especially
Shaft is sick. Yeah,
Shaft is probably my favorite joint on this project. It's just, I love the beat. I love the energy. Everything about that song is good for that out the train window at night. I love that joint. It's probably going to end up being one of my favorite songs of the year. I've just played it so many times already. I'm a bigger fan of YL now because of that. But we got to give some love to the producers, right? There was only maybe 3 producers on this, right?
Okay.
It's Jack plus Zamo.
Okay. Yep.
And that's how it's credited. So maybe that's a producer team, or maybe that's one person's name. Shout out to them. They did tracks like One. They did I Choose You. They did One Night Only. They did We Ride, and also the last joint, No Time. And the other tracks are done by some cat named John Boy Ice. John Boy Ice. I'm a research you fan because Marvin is, Shaft.
Shaft, yeah.
I'm with it.
That You Don't Know beat did it for me as well. Like,
yeah, that one's really good too. It's a good project, man. It's an interesting project, and I'm not exactly Oh, there's one other mainstream rap music comparison to make here. The first beat, "I Choose You," is the same joint that they used on the International Players Anthem by UGK. Really recognizable, but the way he freaks it and kind of like you almost don't think about the original.
The original, yeah.
Yeah, you don't compare what he's doing to what Andre did or what you know
Right,
what I mean.
right.
So yeah, man. It's a it's a surprising listen for me.
It's
and
an
one that
easy
was good.
recommendation as well because it's very short. It's like 17 minutes long, or 6 tracks, something like that. Is there a few tracks on
10
there?
songs, 10 songs, 17 minutes.
17 minutes.
Yeah.
Short, breezy
think-
listen. It's a good time from start to finish. I think a lot of people, myself included, were definitely at my limit of tolerance for that couplet flow and just
Yeah.
the way he delivers it. I don't know if I could have taken a lot more than that just because it's not the kind of music I'm accustomed to. And my own...
the verses kind of blend into a chorus and it kind of like
Right.
melts into a verse again. Yeah, I get it.
But at the same time, you know, even if you don't like it, it's 17 minutes of your time.
Yeah.
Like it's not an hour-long joint with, you know, X amount of tracks where you're like, wow, I'm never getting that time back.
Yeah.
It's like either you're going to like find something new that, you know, might change your life a little bit, or it's going to be like, yeah, all right, cool,
Sure.
whatever, that was cool. So I strongly recommend giving this
Same.
album a listen. And, you know, I wasn't familiar with YL before. I don't know how famous or established he is, but I didn't hear any buzz surrounding this record. So if you know, you're someone who enjoys what we do on this channel, then yeah, check this album out.
Yeah, there's a kind of a wide spectrum of people that I could introduce this album to. Unlike some of the other albums we reviewed, the last Homeboy Sandman we just reviewed, there's a niche group of my hip hop peoples that I would recommend that to. This is a little bit wider. I'd recommend this to even the gangster homies. They might appreciate it. This is kind of dope and hard. And for me, on our ridiculous and arbitrary rating system, greatest album ever.
Second, yeah.
And it's an EP, so I don't feel like there's a need to really put a numerical number on it in terms of mine. But if I had to, I would give this a high 7, maybe an 8.
Yeah, an 8.
Yeah, I like it a lot. And you know, support underground, independent artists, people in your hood, people in your area, people in your suburbs or wherever the hell you at, and find cats like this. Man, he deserves a lot more attention. He's just really ill. Secret House.
Secret House.
Tokyo. Fuck the all right. Oh yeah, and check out my man Double A.